Ladies and gentlemen, in a stunning announcement this week, the United States has placed Nigeria on a list of countries now facing partial travel restrictions effective from January 1st, 2026. This means millions of hopeful Nigerians may no longer freely enter the United States of America on many of the main visa categories, including tourist, business, work-related, student, and exchange visas. If you are a Nigerian and dreaming of the US, it's about to get a lot harder. The White House published a presidential proclamation expanding travel restrictions that now partially ban Nigerian nationals from entering the United States on key visa types. The policy targets immigrants and non-immigrant visas, that's from B1, B2 tourist and business visa to F student visa and M vocational and J exchange visas. The US government says this isn't an absolute ban, but the effect is the same. Significantly fewer Nigerians will be able to travel to the United States under normal visa processes. According to the US administration, the justification centers on three main issues. 1. National security concerns. The White House cited terrorist groups like Boko Haram and ISIS operating in parts of Nigeria, making it challenging to properly screen and vet certain applicants. It is no longer a secret that Nigeria struggles with the issue of insecurity in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. In the northeast geopolitical zone, we have the Boko Haram and the ISWAP issue in Nigeria, and these jihadist groups continue to mount attacks on towns, military targets, and civilians, particularly in Borno, Yobe, and part of Adamawa State. In the northwest geopolitical zone, we have the issue of banditry and kidnapping for ransom, where armed bandits roam rural and highway corridors, ambushing vehicles, abducting civilians, and demanding ransoms. North Central, in states like Benue, Kogi, Niger, Nasarawa, Taraba, and Plateau, there has been herdsmen-farmers conflict and disputes over land. In the South-South region, there has been the issue of militancy and oil-related issue. Armed groups have historically attacked oil infrastructure, kidnap for ransom in the Niger Delta, and disrupt economic activity. In the southeast geopolitical zones, we have issues with abduction and kidnapping networks. Separatist groups such as IPOB and their security arm ESN have been linked to clashes with security forces and criminal gangs. This fuels insecurity in parts of the zone. These issues are partly tied to political tensions and debates over autonomy, but also overlap with general criminality and weak local policing. In the southwest geopolitical zones in Nigeria has struggled lately with the issue of kidnappings and massive insecurity along the highways and rural areas. The second reason the US restricts Nigerians from coming into the US is weak screening and vetting systems. The US officials claim that inadequate data sharing, document reliability issues, and civil record keeping challenges make thorough background check difficult for them. And number 3 reasons why there is restriction of Nigerians from going into the US is the high visa overstayers and repatriation issues. The US has long expressed frustration that some visitors stay behind their visa terms and that Nigeria hasn't always quickly accepted nationals the US seeks to repatriate. When visa restrictions are announced, governments rush to downplay it. They call it routine, they say it's technical, they insist it's not punitive. But let's be honest, visa restrictions are diplomatic signals. They are never accidental and they are never random. So how did Africa's largest democracy, America's so-called strategic partner in West Africa, end up facing sweeping visa restrictions affecting ordinary Nigerians. To understand this, we must look beyond press statements and examine the slow breakdown of trust between the United States and the Nigerian government. What really went wrong? What really happened? Visa policy is not just immigration policy, it is foreign policy. When the US restricts visas, it is saying, we don't fully trust your systems. We are uncomfortable with your governance. Your internal problems affect our national interest. Now, visa restrictions are a soft sanction, less loud than economic sanctions, but just as symbolic. And when applied broadly, they reflect institutional frustration, not a single incident. For decades, Nigeria and the US were strategic partners. They were partners in security cooperation, counter-terrorism, trade and investment, regional stability in West Africa. Nigeria was seen as a democratic anchor, a regional power broker, a key ally against extremism. But alliances survive on shared values, not shared history. And over time, cracks began to appear. We must make it categorically clear that the problems that the current Nigeria faces is not currently because of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but there are issues that have been lingering over the past 8-9 years. What are the key issues that damage the relationship between Nigeria and the United States of America? Number one, the issue of governance and democratic concerns. The US places heavy emphasis on electoral credibility, democratic norms, institutional independence, and over recent years, Washington became increasingly uncomfortable with controversial elections and allegations of voter suppression. Whether Nigerian leaders agreed with this assessment or not was irrelevant. Perception became policy, and perception of democratic backsliding affects visa decisions directly. Number two, human rights and security conduct. Nigeria's fight against terrorism is real and complex as well, but the US raised repeated concerns about civilians' casualties, use of force, detentions without trial. From Washington's point of view, security cooperation must align with human rights standards. When those concerns remain unresolved, trust erodes quietly but steadily. Number three reason why Nigeria and US relationship damaged was the issue of corruption and document integrity. This is critical. US visa systems rely on reliable civil records, trustworthy identity systems, and predictable documentation. Persistent issues such as fraudulent documents, weak enforcement, corruption within institutions raise red flags. When a system cannot guarantee authenticity, restrictions follow, not as punishment but as risk management. Number four, diplomatic friction and communication breakdown. Diplomacy is not only about what is said, but how disagreements are handled. At various points, public disagreements replaced quiet diplomacy. Defensive rhetorics replaced engagement. Signals from Abuja and Washington stopped aligning. When dialogue becomes strained, policy hardens, and visa policy is often the first place it shows. But here is the tragedy. Visa restrictions rarely hurt elites. They hurt the students, the professionals, families, entrepreneurs. But from the US perspective, visa systems are blunt tools. They are designed to protect national interests, not foreign citizens. So when trust in governance weakens, entire populations feel the consequences. That is the harsh reality of global power. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not inherit an easy country. He inherited a fractured economy, a bleeding security system, and a citizenry stretched to the breaking point. Nigeria often reacted too late on issues of national interest. Warnings were dismissed as interference. Concerns were met with defensiveness. Engagement became episodic instead of sustained. And in diplomacy, silence is interpreted as disregard. Visa restrictions, strained cooperation, and policy distancing do not happen overnight. They are the result of accumulated disengagement. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must keep permanent diplomatic back channels open, empower professional diplomats, not political loyalists, to engage with the US. He must address US concerns with facts, reforms, and timelines, not emotions. Diplomacy is not surrender, it is strategic patience. And when Nigeria engages consistently, confidently, and credibly, the relationship can reset. Continuous engagement with the US is not about pleasing America, it is about protecting Nigerian interests. Easier mobility, better trade accesses, security cooperation, and stronger global standing. Foreign policy rewards seriousness, and seriousness is shown through consistency, not outrage. What do you make of this situation? Kindly comment your thoughts in the comment section. This is Impact Media. Thank you for listening.